Witches, werewolves, vampires, cemetery settings. There are so many awesome books that are releasing this fall that haven't been talked about as much as other highly anticipated releases. So let's correct that today. Let's figure out what are some little known books that are coming out this fall that we might want to add to our spooky season TBRs. The bulk of these books are actually going to be coming out in the month of September, which is awesome if you're somebody like me who relies a whole lot on their library system to get these books. So you'll have some time to find many of these and get them in time for October. Releasing on September 5th, we have Ghost Business by Jen DeLuca, which is a sequel to a book I actually read very recently this summer and became obsessed with. Haunted Ever After is a book that's set in a fictional beach town called Boneyard Key, I believe. It's in Florida. So it's very different than what you'd think in a spooky romance book. It's not set during fall, it's very coastal, it's very hot and sticky, but the town itself is such a fun, well-written character that I'm so excited to learn more about in this sequel, which I think I'm gonna save for the summer months coming up, you know, a little summerween vibe, but I know many folks might want to kind of get their spooky vibes in this fall. This sequel is gonna be following a familiar character that we got to know in the first book, so I found her to be very interesting. She runs her own ghost tour business company in town, and there's somebody who's coming in that's a rival, and I think they're from a larger company, so it's kind of like corporations versus small businesses. That's very much giving like enemies to lovers, I'm gonna assume, but I guess we have to read to find out. Also coming out on September 5th is Sweets and Sycamores by Arian Nix. So we have our main character here, Allie Wells, who's a late blooming witch, struggling to control her fiery powers and must master them by Halloween or face expulsion from her coven. So kind of high stakes. Coming out on September 9th is a book I'm sure you're well aware of, but I'm really excited about, so I wanted to mention it. That is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison, which has to do with like a haunted house possession story dealing with like generational trauma from like woman to woman. So I'm excited for this one. I'm gonna keep an open mind, open heart, because the more recent books I've read from this author haven't really been connecting with me in ways that others have in the past. So I really hope this one is a hit. On September 9th, we have Mourner for Hire coming out by Caitlin Moss, which is a romantic comedy about death, which is interesting, forgotten pasts, and unfinished business. So we have Avada Daughtry making her living as a professional mourner. I didn't know that was a job, so that's fun. After a fleeting night with bartender Dominic, she disappears, only to reappear at his mother's funeral a year later, where she shockingly is named in the will. Haunted by Annabelle Dunn's ghost and bound to her posthumous demands, Vada and Dominic must navigate grief, suspicion, and slow-burning attraction that refuses to stay buried. And then September 9th, we have Reef Mind by Hazel Zorn. This is a novella, so we have Earth's coral reefs become sentient, and they're invading the surface world. This one sounds like a great summerween read to me. I love eco-horror in the summer months, so it looks like we have a sentient coral reef that starts to like take over land, which is an awesome premise. Honestly, all I need to know before reading a book. And then returning to more of like a romantic comedy kind of vibe here, we have The Honey Crisp Orchard Inn by Valerie Bowman, which is coming out September 9th. This is being pitched as perfect for fans of the Pumpkin Spice Café or the Love Light series. So it seems like it's pretty cozy, pretty spicy, and it follows a young event planner who returns to her family's inn on an apple orchard to help run their harvest festival. Just so fall to me, only to find herself butting heads with the handsome son of the apple orchard's owners. I love the title of this next one, Everything She Does Is Magic by Bridget Morrissey, which also comes out September 9th. Darcy Keller, Fableview's beloved spirit princess, can't wait to leave town for college, though her parents want her to inherit their Halloween empire. Girl, take it and run. I wanna join that. But we have new girl Anya Doyle, an almost initiated witch in need of a mortal protector, panicking and claiming Darcy, her secret crush, as her choice. Okay, so some world building there. I have no clue what's going on with that. Thrown together through the town's fall festivities, the two strike a deal to solve each other's problems, but soon find themselves tangled in unexpected feelings that could upend both their plans. So yeah, fake dating potentially. In The Lone Wolf Cafe, we have Nettie Clark, a runaway werewolf from a remote Maine island stumbling into Wisteria Grove, a hidden witch village. And they take a job baking at a local cafe while pretending to be a witch. Though she plans only a short stay, Nettie begins to thrive, sharpening her skills, making friends, and falling for Rowena Hawthorne, the brooding herbalist who hired her. Sounds like a sticky situation to get out of. I've really been looking forward to Amy McCaw's newest book coming out, They Own the Night, which is a 1980s Dracula retelling that centers around two siblings, Mia and Johnny, I believe, who have to really rely on each other as, they were orphaned at a really young age. Their father is a serial killer, and so they find themselves searching for answers and getting caught up in, very vampiric shenanigans, as one does, I guess. I feel like Amy McCaw's books are so perfect for fall, specifically Halloween, because they're so good at incorporating like the aesthetics of horror and just spooky vibes and camp. And it's perfect for the Halloween season when you really are looking for that. Moving on to Hopelessly T-Voted, coming out September 16th. After the death of his parents, witch Azrael Hart returns to his eerie family manor in Hollow Cross, only to reunite with his childhood best friend and former crush. His former crush is named Vicky, who is newly disowned and indebted to a devil. Dang, hey when that happens. When ominous spirits warn them of a looming threat, the two must join forces to save their town, while also navigating a curse that keeps them from touching. Oh my God. So it's like the Halloween version of Too Hot to Handle? Sign me up. The only nonfiction book I have on this list is When We Spoke to the Dead, How Ghosts Gave American Women Their Voice. There are several books out there that touch on this topic of spiritualism in the late 1800s, specifically getting into like the Fox sisters and how they started, seances, the emergence of the Ouija board, spirit photography, all those awesome things. But this book is special because it is connecting it to the present moment. And it mentions here how it traces the history from Victorian parlors to modern wellness culture, revealing how the supernatural evolved into a lasting and lucrative obsession. So I'm really fascinated to see, through like a gendered lens, what is the connection between the spiritualism movement of the Victorian era and predominantly women-led wellness industries of today. Color me intrigued. This next book has a phenomenal book cover. Mystery James Digs Her Own Grave. So the titular character here is abandoned in a cemetery and raised in a funeral home. A girl who can see and smell the supernatural must solve the mystery of a priceless heirloom stolen from her family's business. But to do so, she must contend with the angry patriarch of the town's wealthiest family, a sleep paralysis demon, oh no, a grave robber, and the ghastly half-vampire, half-ghost that's lurking in the old Ellistown cemetery. So this is apparently perfect for fans of Wednesday and also Beetlejuice. And spooky middle grade books are just perfect. So ideal for fall. On September 25th, the Dead Poets Sorority is releasing. So this one is classified as like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days meets Ghosts in this quirky, gothic, dark academia romance. What a combination. When student journalist Emma investigates a secret society dabbling in seances, she accidentally summons the ghost of Nathaniel Harker, a forgotten 19th century poet. Ooh, okay, I see where things are going here. A little human ghost romance, potentially. But as the society closes in on her secret, she must fight to protect Nathaniel, even if it means risking the very love she'd just begun to find. The Fang Arrangement by Sarah Blue is coming out September 26th. After a disastrous date leaves her accused of murder, a witch strikes a dangerous bargain with Warren Auclair, one of Louisiana's most powerful and infuriating vampires. Bound to serve as his on-call witch, or face the vampire council, she finds herself caught between lurking threats, hidden secrets, and Warren's unexpected loyalty. As danger draws them closer, resisting her growing desire for the immortal vampire becomes harder than surviving the supernatural world itself. There's a series that Sarah Blue released, and I listened to all of them on Hoopla, I think. It's like the Charming series where she takes a lot of like biblical stuff and it's like a devil, spicy romance kind of thing. And I love that series so much. And I'm currently reading Marriage Hex by her as well. Just the way that she writes her characters, it all just feels so believable. No cringe, no cheesiness, nothing like that. And there's even like some spicy moments in it. She probably has to be one of my favorite underrated romance authors. September 30th, we have Lover's Leap. Hazel and her high school sweetheart Finn reunite with their partners to tour a potential B&B, only to find the property's eccentric owners and eerie atmosphere more unsettling than expected. Strange visions, dizzy spells, and their partners' increasingly erratic behavior, suggests the haunting might be more than a sales gimmick, so like, I don't know, some possession? Another spooky middle grade book that's releasing at the end of September is Broken Dolls by Ali Malineko. After her grandfather's death, Kay copes with arithmomania and selective mutism, counting everything around her while struggling to express her grief. When her younger sister Holly begins unearthing eerie dolls hidden throughout their grandfather's house, love it, okay, Kay realizes they aren't ordinary toys. They watch, whisper, and seem to want something. Okay, what could they want? What could dolls possibly want? I mean, nothing good, obviously, right? The last book in September coming out is Ghosted by Amy Hutton. This one sounds really fun. So like 2 years after, this one like paranormal investigator ghosts a guy she was seeing like for a short period of time. She actually needs to call him in to help her out with one of her investigations because he's like a paranormal podcaster. And so they're kind of forced to be in close proximity with each other. And the investigation is also tied to like the town's history with witch trials. So yeah, ghosts, witches, a fun combination for fall. Moving on to the October book releases here, October 7th, we have the Hearth Witch's Guide to Magic and Murder. When London's surge in supernatural crime threatens to expose Fae society, the Winter Council reluctantly enlists Avery Hemlock, a socially awkward changeling just freed from centuries of punishment. Meanwhile, Saga Trigg, reeling from heartbreak and lost direction, discovers magic is far more real than she imagined when Avery becomes her neighbor. It's funny, I've been reading a lot of books lately that have really challenged the main characters to discover and develop special or like magical abilities later in their life, which I think is so fun to have to consolidate like who you think you've been with like who you were meant to be. Oh, I guess I have another nonfiction book on here, but it's a little different than like a history book. We have Elvira's Cookbook from Hell, which I think I'm gonna buy. She has things like a beastly bloody brunch, a romantic graveside picnic, creepy cocktail party, dinner ideas, and having your friends for dinner. What? So I'm curious, like what will a cookbook by, the iconic Elvira look like and consist of? So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a physical copy for myself and try out at least something this fall. Another sequel is coming out from one of my most beloved witchy series, The Witching Moon Manor by Stacey Savinsky. The first book is the Crescent Moon Tea Shop, which is so lovely. It is so awesome when there are books that are like as a little focused around romance as possible, and it just like really works on fleshing out female relationships. In the case of this book, it's 3 sisters who are witches, and they have to kind of work through the reality that their lives are pulling them in like 3 different directions when really they have been just like this one solid unit. So like who are they as individuals, and being able to like see what happens like after the happily ever after is gonna be really fun with this sequel. The Devil She Knows is coming out October 21st, which features a down on her luck woman who makes a deal with a crafty demon to win back her ex-girlfriend after a proposal gone awry, only to discover the girl of her dreams might be the devil she knows. Making deals with the devil never seems to work out for anyone. When will we learn? On the same day, Good Spirits is also coming out. I was kind of hesitating adding this book to this specific list, but I thought it'd be good to know since it is coming out right now, and then maybe you could plan ahead for winter if you're more of a seasonal thematic reader. The main character in this book is Nolan Callahan, the ghost of Christmas past. So they're expecting just like a routine haunting until he meets Harriet York, whose kindness makes him long for more than his ghostly existence. Aw, Harriet, who's a lifelong people pleaser, doesn't understand why she's being haunted until unraveling her past with Nolan reveals surprising connections between them. As Christmas Eve nears, the two must decide if their spirited bond can lead to a future together or fade with the season's end. Okay, that's brilliant. Take a Christmas carol and make it a romance. Whew, okay, that was a lot to read. That was like over 20 books, but it was all for a good cause. It's always really fun trying to like dig up as many book releases as I can that I know people aren't talking about on these like digital internet spaces. So my hope was that you're able to find at least one thing you didn't know about to add to your fall TBR. But with that being said, let me know if I missed any hidden gems releasing this fall that would be perfect to add to our spooky season TBRs. And if you're as excited as I am for the fall months to begin, definitely leave some like fall autumnal emojis down below in the comments, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!